Dan, starting with you. Are the Falcons now legit Super Bowl contenders?
Oh, there's no question about it. You know, when they signed Kirk Cousins, they were legit playoff contenders. And the two corresponding moves since Kirk Cousins has gotten there with the addition of Judon and Simmons, there's no question. This is a football team that has been slightly below average. Don't pay attention to Stephen A.
Let's just
Guys,
get a
okay?
screen grab
Kimberly,
of everyone
me
right
and
now.
you, like, just don't pay attention to that. They've been below average, slightly below average, with relatively poor quarterback play. Kirk Cousins bringing well above average quarterback play. They're dynamically talented on offense. They got a really good offensive line. Raheem Morris' second run as a head coach, so the experience that he's gained both in his own head coach run, but also under Sean McVay and Simmons and Judon, while they're older, if those guys are kind of relatively close to what they've been for the past couple seasons, this is a really, really good defense. You pair him, Simmons, and Jesse Bates, that's one of the best safety duos in football. And if Judon can rush the passer with Grady Jarrett, man, this is a complete football team.
Oh, my God. When you look at the Atlanta Falcons, particularly under Arthur Smith, we saw a roster. We saw them, Okay, you got London Drake. You've got, like you said, Darnell Mooney. You got him. Ray McLeod. We get all that. They got some weapons. Bijan Robinson is no joke. He's big time. We understand that. But it all stops when you get to Kirk Cousins. We've lamented how Dak Prescott has 2 playoff victories in 8 seasons as a starter. Who's worse, Dan Orlovsky, in the postseason? Who's worse? It
I would
Kirk
imagine
Cousins.
you're going to say Kirk Cousins has less.
It would be Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
And so for you to sit up there and say, if we're going to, the blasphemy you've just committed, you're forcing me to be nice to the Cowboys. Because I have to look at them and say, if we're going to sit up there and say that they don't really have a legit shot at being in the Super Bowl and stuff like that, they got a better shot at being in the offseason, how are we going to turn around with a team led by Kirk Cousins, assuming he's in the lineup after, his injury last year? How are we going to assume that they're going to have but so much success, particularly in the postseason? Why would you say something like that? Now, if we had the discussion that they're going to win the South and they're going to be in the playoffs, all right, cool. That division, don't get me started with the NFC South. But that's not what this discussion was about. You're talking about the Atlanta Falcons, and you mentioned potential Super Bowl. Don't you have to win playoff games, which Kirk Cousins has seemed allergic to do?
Yes, you do.
What are you talking about?
Well,
what are you talking about?
I'm talking about the question at the bottom of the screen.
Legit Super Bowl contenders!
The Cowboys are not a good lateral comparison because they've been to the playoffs more than the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, lateral comparison. Lateral comparison. Explain what that means to the average Joe out there, dear Abby Orlovsky.
You think they're side by side.
Explain to us what that means.
You think that they're side by side, and they're not. The Cowboys have had many more opportunities than the Vikings, and certainly with Kirk.
And so the team that hasn't been relevant enough to have opportunities is suddenly a Super Bowl contender before a damn game is played? What are you talking about?
Go ahead,
Kimberly.
Thankfully,
Go ahead,
I have 20/20 vision, and I could see the screen says, "Are the Falcons legit Super Bowl contenders?" Daniel, I'm disappointed in you, my friend, because I did not want to have to disagree with you so early in the show. Like, I just got here.
Okay.
But you said, no question, this is Super Bowl contender team. But yet you said, if these guys, if Matthew Judon, if this happens, you point out Kirk Cousins, a guy who's coming off a major injury. The same reason we look at Aaron Rodgers, granted they're not the same age, but we look at Aaron Rodgers and say, like, health is a huge factor here. Health is a huge factor with Kirk Cousins. He says he's going to be ready week 1. He's going to play. Cool.
Sure.
But I think the real answer is somewhere. I'm going to split the baby. The answer is undetermined. Not yet. Too early to tell. Because, yes, Raheem Morris, this is his second shot at being a head coach. But he's a new head coach. You don't know what this team is going to look like. They have pieces, but we think Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, they got weapons. Part of the problem with the Falcons is those weapons weren't used effectively. And now we have a new head coach, we have new staff, and I think it's not yet, guys. Like, we have no idea what the Falcons will look like.
See, I would disagree that there's no idea. Like, I've been somebody for 2 years who has been higher on Atlanta and had greater expectations for Atlanta if the quarterback play would take a step up. And the quarterback play never actually got there. But I think that I don't find a lot of flaws on this football team. I think they got a really good offensive line. I think they got 5 really good skill position players. Drake London, I've said this all offseason, is going to be a household national name. Bijan Robinson, I think, in this offense, Zach Robinson, who's their new offensive coordinator, comes from Rams. I'm not going to say that he's Todd Gurley. I'm not going to say that. But I see him playing in a Todd Gurley-like role. Their defensive line, Grady Jarrett's really good. Ebike's just coming on. That's why Judon's addition is such a big deal. And their secondary's really good now. Like, their secondary in a year, I'm telling you, Jesse Bates and Justin Simmons are 2 of the best I can go get the football safeties in the NFL. Judon can rush the passer, which is really their way. I just don't find a ton of flaw in the football team.
I'm with you, my friend. I'm with you. But for you to say there's no question, yeah, there is question. The only thing I will say is what makes me confident, the Falcons to me are the dark horse in the NFC because of that division.
I brought up Kirk Cousins and who he is come playoff time. We have to remember the Atlanta Falcons have had 6 consecutive losing seasons. Let's not forget that. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And on top of it all, Raheem Morris, God bless him, got a second chance, deserved it. I'm happy for him. But as a head coach in Tampa, his record was 17-31. And he hasn't been a head coach in over 12 years. So with all of that coming into consideration, you would sit up here with a straight face before they played a single damn regular season game, before they had an opportunity to pass gas, and you're going to sit up there and tell them and tell the world that they are legit Super Bowl contenders. You have any idea how asinine that sounds? I know they got talent. I know they could play. I get all of that. The personnel seems very, very capable, but who's proven anything? And you would throw that out there before they played a game. I'm not disrespecting the Atlanta Falcons by any stretch of the imagination. I know they got talent, and Bijan Robinson's a stud, and you got to use him in the same way that Shanahan uses Christian McCaffrey, CMC. Make no mistake about it. You got to utilize him that way, and I get that. They're going to be able to run the football. They're going to be able to throw the football. We got that. Their defense, like you said, with the guys that they picked up, especially with Judon because he can rush the passer, which is going to be a plus. But when you have 6 straight losing seasons, when your head coach is a guy getting his second bite at the apple, and the first go-round, he was 14 games below 500, and your quarterback is a guy who is allergic to prosperity once the postseason arrives, and that's only when he makes it. For Dan Orlovsky, dear Abby Orlovsky, to come out and say these brothers are Super Bowl contenders, it's a shameful take. It's a shameful take.
Stephen A., are the Green Bay Packers Super Bowl contenders?
Yes.
Who's more proven in the NFL, Kirk Cousins or Jordan Love?
I think Jordan Love. In 8 games. In 8 games in a playoff game, I think he's more proven than
Dan,
Kirk Cousins.
please don't
That's
leave.
right. Go ahead.
Don't leave.
Go ahead and
Please
walk
don't
out.
leave.
Go
You're
ahead.
attacked.
You want to talk
Mike.
about
That's right.
You're attacked.
That's
You're
right.
mic'd up.
That's right.
Please.
That's
Asinine
right.
comments.
That's right.
More proven?
How is Kirk Cousins? How is Kirk Cousins proven in the postseason? How? I saw Jordan Love roll. Hold it. I saw Jordan Love roll up into Dallas. Now this is after playing the second half of the season, completing 70% of his passes, 18 touchdowns, just 1 interception. Okay, and then went in the postseason on the road and dropped 48. When did Kirk Cousins do that? When that happened?
Okay, I love
You know what
Jordan
Kirk
Love.
Cousins has made news for?
This ain't a knock on Jordan Love.
Is this
but
true?
He's not more proven.
Answer this question. Answer this question for me. Is it not a fact that Kirk Cousins has made news primarily because he has a phenomenal agent who has managed to get him guaranteed top dollars over the last several years more so than his play on the field? Yes or no?
Daniel.
Is that not a fact?
That's your opinion on it. I think Kirk Cousins has consistently played
Daniel,
as a top 10 quarterback.
Daniel, you know,
Kirk Cousins has consistently played as a top 10, top 12 quarterback.
Daniel, if we asked you who are the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, you're not naming Kirk Cousins in that.
I am, and I have.
Where are you naming Jordan Love? Where's Jordan Love on that list?
Probably like top, 7, 8, 9, somewhere in that world.
Is Kirk 10?
But he's not more proven. All I know is this. All I know is this.
What has Kirk Cousins proven in January? What has he proven in January?
I think what's his playoff record? 1-2 is my guess. I don't know that off the top of my. All I know is this: when you have a football team that is good, but is being held by a lack of quarterback play, and you then insert above average quarterback play, the football team all plays better. We've seen it from Brady going to Tampa,
Kirk Cousins
Stafford
is one of the
going
rare
to Rams. I'm not
quarterbacks
saying
in
he's
the
those
National
cats.
Football League that can plan a New Year's Eve party in advance, because you know he gonna be there for it. Because he probably ain't gonna be on the road for a playoff game. Stop it.
You ain't right.
Just stop.
Once again, Steven,
We gotta talk facts, man. I mean, come on, y'all.